Welcome back to On the Hill. I'm Chaz McAdams here with Ben Oppenheimer and Madi Dembele. Fordham Sports Podcast, everything you need from Fordham Athletics, from football to basketball, some baseball. We're in the prime of that right now, but this is a little bit of an emergency pod I think we got going on right now because Fordham men's basketball just landed a massive 4-star from the Sun Devils, but don't want to get into that. Got to get a little health is wealth, mental health checking. Guys, how are we doing today? It's a beautiful day outside.
Yeah, I mean, it's surreal to be here with you guys, just being in the studio, and, you know, you would think it's you want to spend all your time outside, but I'm so happy to be inside here with you guys recording this podcast because, as Chaz said, it's an emergency right now. We got to cover everything. We got to get the whole crew to just do diagnostics on this thing, and let's get right into it, man.
I mean, it's almost like every time I see that green light go on, it's like ding. It's like I just wake up and I'm ready to talk sports. I mean, again, I love when the sports world is in a state of crisis because then we have so much to talk about. And I get to do it with Chaz McAdams and Ben Oppenheimer. There's no other two guys that I'd rather be with. So let's get it popping, guys.
I mean, yeah, the big three. It's got to be the big
Besides
three.
my pound for pound.
Yeah, who's LeBron, though? Who's LeBron? Who's Wade? Who's Bosh?
I mean, I'm definitely LeBron.
I'll take Bosh.
I'll take Wade.
Got to be LeBron.
Yeah.
Chaz Goat. Okay, so we're getting into it. So if you haven't heard, which I guess you're living under a rock or don't have an X account, Jaden Smith, 4-star recruit from Arizona State, stolen from the Forks down there in the Southwest by Keith Urgo, decommit and comes to Fordham. One of the biggest recruits Fordham landed in a pretty jam-packed offseason considering how old this Fordham team was in this, let's say, disappointing previous year. I don't think that's any stretch of the imagination. Before I get into it, before I get to the nuts and bolts of what this guy's game is and how he can, what he can bring to the table for us, Ben and Madi, like, what was your gut reaction when you saw that post? When you saw that double eyeball emoji drop from Keith Urgo saying, "Get ready for 3 p.m." How do we feel?
I mean, when I initially saw it, I believe they said, I don't know if this is hyperbole or not, I'm not questioning Fordham, but the highest graded recruit since 2009 is what I believe the X account said.
Yeah.
I mean, 6'11", 4-star recruit, the number 23 center in the country for the class of 2024, and in the state of Illinois, he's a number 6 overall guy. I mean, 6'11", you get all that size in a front court that desperately needed it, consistency in that. So, I mean, I'm excited to bring, and he's one of just 4 guys that I'm really excited. You told me about another guy that I'm really, really excited about. Patch is what we call him here in studio.
Alexander Pachuki.
We're going to get into him, but I mean, like in a stacked recruiting class, Jaden Smith might be the crown jewel, and I'm excited for this season to get started.
Yeah, I thought, originally when I saw those 2 emojis, I thought LeBron James Jr. was coming. I thought Bronny James was coming.
Did you actually?
Yeah, I did.
What are you talking? Why would he come to Fordham?
Why
would he come to Fordham?
Why would he not come to Fordham?
I mean, Bryce did get an offer from Duquesne.
No,
that's right. That's right.
Well,
I was thinking Urgo.
There.
I was thinking Urgo was playing, chess. Duquesne was playing checkers. Urgo was playing chess.
I don't know about all that. Bronny's not that good.
I think he'd be a great ad for Fordham, but we'll see what happens because we do need one more guy, which we'll talk about. But when I saw who it was, I was really, like, in all seriousness, I was ecstatic. I mean, Madi mentioned he's the number 23 center in the country for the class of 2024, and he's 235th nationally on the 247 Sports Composite website. And what I think is interesting about the narrative of this guy is he originally committed, he signed a national letter of intent to attend Arizona State this past November, and then he reopened his recruitment last month. So I don't know what was behind that, what prompted the abrupt change in direction of where he wanted to attend his next 4 years, but I'm happy to have him either way. Former ASU commit or not, it's great to have him here, and he's originally from Chicago. And who doesn't love Chicago? It's got Juice WRLD, it's got Chance the Rapper, it's got other. Juice WRLD is
I'm aware.
Come out of Chicago.
I'm aware.
I love the nuance.
Anyway,
nuance.
I'm just excited for him to get started. He's also great on the defensive end, which will be crucial for this team in those tight-knit A-10 games where you need that defense, you need that rebounding, particularly that offensive rebounding down the stretch. And I think he's going to be the X factor, and we'll be so excited to see what happens this upcoming season.
I agree. I mean, I like a lot of the upside, but I think I'm ever the optimist, especially when it comes to this Fordham team. And I it's often to a fault that I get criticized for the expectations I put on this team. But
thing.
people forget. You want to talk about someone that left, one of those scholarship spots that was able to get open is because Elijah Gray, future Temple Owl, is now gone. People forget he was committed to Maryland.
Yeah.
Before he came to Fordham.
He was a terrible.
Elijah.
I never knew that.
He was a terrible.
Committed to Fordham, or committed to Maryland. Decommit, came to the Rams. So I'm not saying it reeks of anything of similar things because, as we've talked about before on the pod, Elijah Gray did have a lot of off the court issues. Nothing serious, just like kind of the mental fortitude is what required to play a full season A10 ball. Might not have been all the way there for him.
He was like DeMarcus Cousins, kind of. Definitely an impact player
that didn't play a lot of defense. But there's, I'm very hopeful for Zona. He seems like a very fun-loving guy that really like just loves the game of basketball. Still is like a fresh-faced 18-year-old, and I think that there's going to be a lot of question marks coming into the season, especially expectations so high after the DQ Khalid season, and now they're just at the floor when it comes to what happened last year. But again, let's talk about the other recruits real quick because I am into the shot blocking, but I want to go down the roster.
We have to end on it. We have to go on. Like, we're talking about all the stuff that we're concerned about, but you know what?
No, I'm hype. I'm hype. I'm very excited. I'm excited. I'm an excited guy. Matt Zona.
Okay.
Former Bergen Catholic teammate of Will Richardson, who everyone is saying it's his team now, as the incoming junior. Will Richardson, probably the primary ball handler going into this year. Him and Zona had a great on the court chemistry there at Bergen Catholic. Zona, Jersey kid, it was always New York for him. Played a solid. I mean, solid is maybe an exaggeration even. It was an underwhelming, I'll say, years at Notre Dame. But I think he can really flourish in the A10. I mean, people want to talk bad about Notre Dame because of how weak that basketball program is. They're in the ACC. It's hard to be tough.
Which is a different beast in the A10.
Yeah, bottom of the ACC, you're looking at an A10 champion. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So there's a lot to go on there, but I like Zona a lot. Jackie Johnson III, was a freshman at Duquesne, averaged 10 points a game there. That was huge. Left the A10. Now he is back in the Bronx at Rose Hill Gym. And then we got me and Madi's kind of favorite upside, Alexander Pachuki, just like an absolute scorcher. Like can just shoot the leather off of the ball. Ryan Pettis also coming in. And then we got Jaden Smith. So a lot of fresh new faces in the Rose Hill Gym. But let's go back to the kid that we stole from the Forks, the kid that we stole from the Devils. I think Jaden Smith still has one roadblock in front of him, and it's Abdou Simbila. Ergo loves what the kid from Cameroon can do at the 5 spot. And I just hope that Jaden Smith gets a lot of time to shine. You know, freshmen struggle a lot of time in the A10.
Yes, they do.
But do you think that Jaden Smith is going to get the burn that he needs to really make an impact when he's behind someone that's been a cornerstone of the Keith Ergo era at Fordham?
Well, do we know he's going to be behind? Because I think he's going to start at the 4. Do we?
I mean, Ergo does like lineups with 2 bigs. I mean, Jaden Smith is going to be able to stay on the floor because if you're a big guy who can play defense, you're always going to find some minutes in the rotation. I mean, 5 blocks when he was over at Kenwood Academy, 6'11", with that huge wingspan that he has. I think he'll be able to stay on the floor. But, I mean, Abdou had some really, really good games.
And some really
bad games. But Abdou was close to having some
He had a Roy Hibbert moment. That was his Roy Hibbert moment.
Verticality. I mean, what do you want to talk about? Shout out to the Indiana Pacers being the New York Knicks. What's new? But there's
you had to use that one.
Of course I did. I mean, like, you guys are a bum franchise and you'll be for the end of time.
Okay.
But
Fordham
there's a lot of good things to talk about in New York basketball when we don't have to talk about the blue and the orange. But I just don't know because
that was a Mets shot too. That was a shot at the Mets.
I mean, all the blue and orange organizations are garbage. There's a lot of I'm very excited about Jaden, and I did mention the caveat that Abdou did have some tough games, but Abdou at his ceiling, he was preseason first team all defense.
Yeah.
Like there's a reason that the A10 poll picked him to the place where he needed to be, and there's games where he showed it, there's games where he didn't. That's an objective fact. Is he gonna have more boom than bust this year? I don't know, but if I'm Fordham, I'm praying on the young guy. Like I'm definitely going for Jaden Smith to get him more minutes to kind of train him because Abdou's only got 1 year left. And if you want to keep an exciting young star, especially in the A10 at a small program like this, you got to show them love. That's why Madi entered the portal for about 60 seconds and came back. All he needed was a little love. All he needed was shown a little love.
And
some
he played well.
TLC,
So Chaz,
some tender love and care.
will you reveal to us that you run Ramad Dean fan club?
I do not run Ramad Dean fan club.
Don't.
Only in my dreams do I run.
I thought it was you.
If I run Ramad Dean fan club, I think that I am in the Ramad Dean fan club. I just don't run the
Ladies
account.
and gentlemen, go give Chaz McAdams a follow on X, Twitter, as it's formerly known.
Yeah,
He's
if you want to
hilarious.
if you want to melt your brain out of your skull, yeah, give me a quick follow. If you like niche Cartoon Network memes from 2007 and then Celtic slander in the opposite direction, whoever they're facing, definitely go follow me on X at Grilled Jazz. But shameless plug. Let's get off of Jaden Smith because he is very exciting. But I'm excited about the other guys too. Do we think that Matt Zona is going to be able to make that A10 jump, that mid-major jump that we all want to see from guys that go from not making a big splash, not making a huge impact at a high major school down to when they go down to a mid-major? Do we think he is good enough to make that jump as an impact player? Be honest.
I mean, Notre Dame, again,
Be honest.
not a big basketball program, but like you guys said, in the ACC, and there's something to be said about the osmosis of being around something. You absorb that kind of environment. I mean, think not too long ago, Khalid Moore, where did he go to school again, if I'm not mistaken?
Georgia Tech.
Georgia Tech.
Yeah.
And then he comes to Fordham, and he's one of the best two players. We have an amazing season, and we almost challenged for an A10 championship. I mean, it can
He also
happen.
went pro.
Also went pro. I mean, who's to say that's out of the question for Matt Zona? Maybe if his ceiling is not like that, but maybe you absorb what you absorb at
Matt
Notre
Zona
Dame.
Pro. I mean, I would love to see
6'9",
that. I mean, no
200
one's happier. No one's happier if Matt Zona Pro than me. Is it in the cards?
6'9",
I don't know if I'm
240
betting the
pounds.
apartment on
He's
it.
going to be able to play some good basketball here for the Fordham Rams.
He's got upside. I mean,
Yeah.
I was going to say what Madi said. I mean,
But he's also got downside, guys. Like we
where's
got to
the
be
downside?
realistic.
Why do you have to be the pessimist here? Let's.
I'm not
stay
being
in
a
the
pessimist.
sunshine.
I'm trying to be a realist. I don't want my
Yeah.
I don't want my head in the clouds and then suddenly I look down and we're losing by 20 to CCSU.
Well, that's the experience of being a Boston sports fan, I guess. But
I guess
know,
64 wins on the year. Like we're gonna
well,
crush you guys if you even make it to the Eastern Conference Finals.
Okay,
But,
nice,
it is
nice,
what it is.
nice game too against the Cavs.
Yeah, sick game
but,
3 and 4.
Okay, but look, I think that with what Madi said, I mean, the fact that you're coming from out of conference from the ACC to the A10, I think that's the easiest transition in the world. And as Madi said, I think that's because we've seen it with Khalid Moore. And Khalid actually, if people remember, there was a slight adjustment for him when he first played.
got here. Yeah.
Then once, basically right around when conference play started, he just went on a
Amazing.
tear. It was
Yeah.
him and Quiz were like the dynamic duo, which most people acknowledge that they were a great 1-2 punch together.
And
So
Zona
I-
could shoot it, man. Not to interrupt you, but Zona could hit a couple of
can
shots. Yeah.
Yes, and Khalid could also shoot it, and that's also the kind of a microcosm of the modern big man in college. Also, the NBA is a big man who can shoot it, which Zona, as you said, can do. He's got just around average, maybe slightly below average percent clip from beyond the arc, 32.5%. But again, that's
on
not-
how many shots a game?
That's what I'm
Like,
saying.
That's the thing.
And not-
Like he
yeah.
said, such a low volume.
Yeah.
And I'm gonna take it here real quick because I'm gonna be honest, guys. I don't want to be because I hate this guy.
Please say
I don't want to be Rick Pitino with the '90s Celtics saying, Larry Bird's not walking
Larry
through that
Bird's not
door.
walking through the
Kevin
door.
McHale
Kevin
and
McHale's
Rob
not-
Parrish not walking through that door, ladies and
Jesus,
gentlemen, with
yeah.
the Dunkin' Donuts logo in the background. I don't want to be that guy. Khalid Moore and Darius Quisenberry and I want to be honest, Rostik Nowitzki aren't even walking through that door. But I think we can moneyball this.
Mm-hmm.
I think Fordham can moneyball their way into being a top 4 seed in the A10 again.
we already
We
have.
don't need Zona to be Khalid
That's
Moore.
what I'm saying.
We just
right.
need the shooting,
No, right.
and then
A
we
consistent-
need
yeah.
we need the length, and then we get Patch
Yeah,
with the shooting,
with the shooting.
and then Jaden Smith with the defense,
Yeah.
and then Jaffe Mador takes a jump, and Josh Rivera's grinding the offseason, and Ramad Dean's grabbing 3 offensive rebounds a game, and suddenly we just beat Dane at Dane, and they're dropping confetti on us.
Yeah.
I see upside.
A guy
What
like
I
Matt
just-
Zona, not even in a secondary or tertiary ball handling or scoring role. I mean, like, you just get a solid, 10 minutes out of him, and he goes 7 points, and he's able to give you a couple of triples. That works. I mean, a guy doesn't have to come down from a big program and become your star just because he was at a big program. You get what you get from there, and maybe you find your sweet little spot here at Fordham University.
What I just want to see is, I'll just add, with him being a former teammate of Will the Thrill,
Oh, that's-
of Will
that's good.
Richardson, I think that
Rose will.
I want to see. Yes, perfect name. We gotta make T-shirts of that, Chaz. You got to get on that. But what I'm interested to see is, will there be some pick and roll action between the two of them? I'd like to see that, some chemistry between those two guys on the floor. I mean, that's always cool when a high school teammate kind of reunites with you.
Of course.
So
I'm looking straight at Urgel for that. Like you said, Chaz, I mean, Urgel's offense can be a little bit, not a criticism to Urgel, but I mean
stagnant.
Yeah. I would like to see some creativity, some flow. Maybe you pinpoint that, and maybe you get a different injection into your offense there. I mean, like, he's a very defensive heavy-minded coach, but I mean, when you got guys that could really put the ball in the basket, or guys that you could put together so they could go out and score, I mean, I would like to see that.
I agree. I think that them being high school teammates is going to have, but I think they both are very different players than they were in high school.
Yeah.
I think Zona he got recruited by Notre Dame. Like, he can ball. He can definitely go where he needs to go. That was coming out of Bergen. I don't think he's the same guy anymore. 4 years of ACC basketball on 11 minutes with 3 points a game, that messes with your brain a little bit. It would mess with my brain, and I think he's lost some.
You know his brain. You're inside his brain.
I'm saying I can be sympathetic. I don't know why you're being so confrontational on the fact that I can sympathize with an athlete.
I sympathize with him too. I'm just saying I think that he can easily bounce back, and he can.
I agree.
That's a two-way
I
street.
think he can, but the question is, it's all about he can. He has the ability to. Will he? Fordham can get this many wins. Fordham can win the A-10. Yeah. They have the ability. Will they get it done? That's and I'm sick of the can. It's will they?
Yeah.
And I don't know if I'm sold yet. We have another scholarship slot. I don't know if I'm sold yet. I got to see the new offense, the new defense, which I think there should and will be some tweaks. I don't know, but I'm very excited on Matt Zona. I got to move on to Jackie Johnson III. 10 points a game as a freshman at Duquesne is nothing to bat an eye at. What do you guys think of his impact on the A-10? He left. He's coming back now. What do we think of double J's?
I think it's really cool just to start out with this fact that Coach Urgo and staff are recruiting people from far away, from not just in the New York City area, which is great,
crazy.
But from UNLV. I think that's, and this guy is originally a native of Wichita, Kansas, and he was, Johnson. He contributed to a UNLV team that went 21-13, reached the quarterfinals of the NIT, and finished fourth with a 12-6 record in the Mountain West. So, and also in that time, he appeared in all 34 of their games. So that's 5.4 points in 14.7 minutes per game, and he's got decent shooting clips, 34% from beyond the arc, and he had a season high one game against Richmond, who we're very familiar with. So that could be a preview. He had 17 points on 5 of 7 shooting. That's a preview, I think, of what we could see in a game against Richmond this upcoming season. I think this guy Johnson, just like all these other guys we've talked about, has great upside.
I mean, coming out of a fantastic program. I mean, UNLV, off the top of my head, Stacey Augmon, Larry Johnson, Armand Gilliam. I mean, like a really, really good basketball program. And I mean, like I said again, like, a 3-man rotation of him, because this is Will Richardson's team going into your third year. Fantastic year as a rookie. Slight downside your sophomore year. This is the year where he shows that he's really coming into his own. I mean, I think him and Jaffe Mador could be excellent passers, like you said, Chaz. I think they could be really, really good facilitators of an offense. And I think a guy like JJ, can't say triple J because
I know, double J's. It's fine. I'm fine. I'm upset, but I'm fine. I'll be all right.
I think he could come in and he could shoot the hell out of the ball. And I think he's a guy that could just put the ball in the basket. You got scores. I think that 3-man lineup would be exciting.
Also, like I talked about the 10 points a game his freshman year at UNLV in the Mountain West, which, as we saw from this past year's tournament, is a strong conference.
Don't sleep.
He averaged 5.4 points a game. That's more than Romad Dean, who I think was a starter for most of the year for Fordham, and Jameer Tripp, who's one of the most exciting rookies that they have.
Yeah.
That's more than they average in the A-10.
Who also played for OTE, Jameer Tripp. Remember that?
Yeah.
Shout out that.
That's right.
So, do we think Jackie Johnson, it feels like, I mean, he's probably the second most hyped guy coming in behind Jaden. Everyone's freaking out about Jaden Smith. I mean, Jackie Johnson could come in here and do damage.
Yeah.
Damage. The only issue is there's only one basketball on the floor, and I don't see enough guys on this team that really want to pass enough. That's
true.
And from what I've heard, Double J just loves ripping that ball. He just loves burning them. He just loves coming off of the pine and just burning one. So I don't know if he can get the ball enough, but I'm very excited to see where he's going to end up, and I'm very excited how he's going to end up this season. Let's move on to Patch, because to me, he's the biggest question mark, but also like, oh my God, imagine if he's so good. Like, imagine if Patch is just spotting up in the corner, shooting like 5 threes a game at a 40% clip.
You shut your mouth.
Because realistically, that's real. Dude, in A10, that's like good.
Yeah,
like,
amazing.
Kyle Rose, the year he averaged 11 points a game. You know what I mean? Like, Fordham basketball, we're going to be sharing the rock. That's just the reality of the situation, especially with Jaffe Medor coming into his last year. He's going to be burning some. Like, there's going to be a lot of good stuff going on. We just got to be efficient with it. So, Alexander Pachuki is definitely one of the prospects that I saw coming in that I wasn't sold on at first until I saw the tape. I saw the numbers. I saw, what do you have, like 10-3 games?
Yes.
That's right.
In Canada. Over there. Super cool. But, man, dude, when that guy goes, he gets going. Like, the way that he just moves the ball, he's like got the Edgar cut, like he's just ready. He's lanky, but he can spray.
6'6" too.
Like 6'6" as a primary spot up in the A10.
And we need
yucky.
I think as like what we're looking for our last spot, our last open spot. I think we need a guy like Patch to help space the floor, be a great shooter. Kind of be a combo guard that can shoot or a wing that can shoot. Would you agree that that's kind of what
I think we need a ball handler. I think we need someone. I know we have a lot of guys that can touch the rock.
But a facilitator.
We need shooting, Chaz.
I think we need someone to get the shooters the ball. We need someone pass first. Name one pass first person on this roster now.
I think Jaffe can be that guy.
Will he though?
Will can be too.
Will is another thing. That is
again,
true.
this is all the can versus Will. I love the upside on everyone.
Zach Riley.
They can do this. They can do that.
We need an Antrell.
Will they do this?
We need an Antrell type of guy.
That's going to be a big loss.
He was the primary ball handler.
That's going to be a big loss.
That's going to be a big loss.
Antrell and Kyle. Both playmakers, both key aspects.
But here's another thing: just the X's and O's of it, Chaz. When you got a guy like Patch who could shoot the basketball, I mean, if he's your primary ball handler, that opens up so much.
But realistically, like,
or if he's a two guard, he comes off a pin down, he gets middle, he's able to penetrate, find the guy.
My question is Patch even going to be able to see the floor a lot?
I mean,
how tight is this rotation going to be?
When you're able to spray it, and practice is going to show a lot. It's like defense.
We'll see
when
during
you're able
summer
to
session.
Spray it, you're going to find the place on the basketball court.
I think we're going to have to wait and see during summer session because I just don't know. I think the pieces are all there.
City Rock, CYBL, deep basketball.
But we got to also talk about the guys we're keeping. I mean, we got Will Richardson, Josh Rivera, Romad Dean, Jameer Tripp. Like, those are all guys that still need to play. Jaffe Medor, Abdou Simbila, Zach Riley. A lot of them in their senior or junior years, like, these guys don't have a lot of time on the clock.
Yeah.
And so they're going to be getting a lot of burn, not just because seniority rules, but because they've been here a lot. Like, if I'm Will Richardson, I got 2 years left. I came in as a highly touted, I think highest recruit since 2009 for Jane. Sounds wrong. I'm pretty sure Will was a 4.
There.
Will was like a 3.5 for a 4. So looking at him, and he came into Fordham and he
sprayed it, 43%.
Sprayed it, and now that it's his team, like, but I just don't know if he has the mentals to say, it's my team now, let me facilitate. I think his mentality, which in a certain situation there's nothing wrong with, it's my third team, green. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, I am pulling from wherever I want, from Ramsey's head, from the deep corner. I'll pull from Bepler Commons if I have to. You know what I mean? Like, it doesn't matter if I'm with Richardson. Is that the right mentality to have with this squad, with the lack of playmaking, with the amount of shooters that we have? I don't know.
But also, I do want to add, even though Richardson had an excellent freshman year the year before this past year, in the 23-24 season, he shot 3.33, so just, not a great overall field goal percentage. And then you look at his percentage from beyond the arc, 29%. So 33% overall, 29% from beyond the arc.
Terrible.
I think that's not what he anticipated coming into
sophomore
this
slump.
year. Sophomore slump. So that's
Praying
also part of the narrative, Chaz, is will he not only grow into the facilitator role, but will he also get back that magic touch that he had in his freshman year? it remains to be seen.
It does remain to be seen. There's a lot of question marks up in the air for this Fordham men's basketball team. I think that is all the time we have on this podcast, though. There's a lot of upside, a lot of downside. We just got to see where the chips fall. But for the On the Hill crew, for Madi Dembele, for Ben Oppenheimer, I've been Chaz McAdams. On the Hill is a production of WFUV Sports.